Hi, welcome to Ken's Games Collection, and this is my PlayStation Vita Collection video. This could also be like a buyer's guide as well. A lot of this stuff here I can highly recommend to anybody looking at trying to collect for the PlayStation Vita in 2022. I picked up the Vita back, I think, in 2012 when I was doing some fly in, fly out work. I did that for like 4 years, where you would work 21 days on, work 10 hours a day, and you would have 7 days off. It was crazy back then, but it was a way to earn some good money. So having a portable system like the PlayStation Vita was just perfect for the travel time. So yeah, this thing was released back in Japan on December 17, 2011, and in international territories on the 22nd of February 2012. Now I have to say, I really feel that the PlayStation Vita is my all-time favorite handheld system. It was just phenomenal with the OLED screen. This is like 10, 12 years before the Nintendo Switch would have an OLED screen. Back then we were really blessed with the OLED screen. It was just so vibrant. It's just perfect. And I guess to cut costs, after that first model, they would change the screens, but I was lucky enough to get the OLED screen. And the initial sales in Japan for the Vita was very favorable, but things went wrong in the West. It didn't really catch on. I guess this was around the time when mobile phones was really popular still, so mobile games was really on the increase back then, and the Vita did really struggle to try and find a foothold in that market because Nintendo, I think 3DS was already out. The DS was massive as well. So you had to fight with Nintendo, and Apple and Samsung did the mobile phone market, and it just didn't work out for them for whatever reason. And sure enough, not long after, we would find that Sony would stop making first party titles for it. Now the main reason why I got a Vita was to play Uncharted Golden Abyss, which I thought was something incredible. I didn't think that they were going to be able to take something like Uncharted and put it into a whole game, but they did. It was just phenomenal, the work that Bent Studios did, and I to this day think that game should be ported to the PlayStation 5. It warrants a port. It is a handheld game, but it's such a great story. It's a prequel to the first Uncharted game, and I just thought, man, this was just crazy how they're able to do something like that. Even though the Vita didn't have first-party support, in Japan it had plenty of third-party developers making Japanese role-playing games. There would be a lot of visual novels in there. I do have some of the visual novels in the collection. It's something that is very different, very Japanese, very unique, I think. It is really cool to have games like that, and I am always a fan of RPGs, so it was a no-brainer for me to collect a lot of RPGs, just like I did for the PlayStation Portable. That console had a lot of great RPGs on it, and it's just I keep going back to this. I just think it's a real shame that Sony would abandon something that I thought was incredible, and I think their main focus was on the PlayStation 4. I still to this day think they should have put it together in a pack with the PlayStation 4. I don't know if it would have helped increase the sales, but it would have gave a lot of people the opportunity to see what an incredible handheld system the Vita was, and word of mouth hopefully would have got out to make the sales a lot better than what they were. I think it ended up selling like something like 16 million units worldwide, which isn't that popular, but yeah, for me the Vita is great, and it's just so great to see now in 2022 a lot of collectors have finally realized, oh crap, this is incredible, why didn't I jump on this back when it was cheaper? And this is another thing, that the Vita games are so expensive now. Now, I'm going to just talk over this. You can see these games. All these games are great. I just want to talk a little bit about my personal opinions of these. I might talk about some of the games, but every game you can see here, I highly recommend. I want to do this a little bit different for a collections video. So, okay, I got my hands on the PlayStation Vita. I did pick up the Japanese PlayStation Vita. It was cheaper to buy that and import it than buying it here locally in Australia. And another thing to note here in Australia, games are really hard to find. Right up until the end, it didn't get the support in your department stores, your Kmart, your Targets. EB Games really didn't have that many Vita titles in there. There'd be a little section just hidden away at the back of the store with maybe 5 or 6 Vita titles, and gradually it would go down to virtually nothing. And at one stage, you couldn't even take your Vita and games into EB Games to trade them because nobody wanted them. It just didn't have a market here. I guess in Japan it had a market, obviously. America, I'm not too sure about how it went over there, and the same for Europe. But generally speaking, here in Australia, it didn't really take off. Now, I want to talk about Assassin's Creed. That game was made from the ground up for the PlayStation Vita, which is unheard of because it didn't get the first party support. And here, Ubisoft taking a chance on Liberation, I think it is, and building it from the ground up. And that was a fantastic game. So, stuff like that you can really appreciate. Same with Gravity Rush was a great IP for the Vita. They would release Gravity Rush 2 on the PlayStation 4, but it didn't really sell. I think it was because nobody knew what the hell it was. The first game, Gravity Rush, did get a remaster for the PlayStation 4, but again, it just, I don't know why, it didn't sell as what I thought it would. It was a great title. It was very unique. It was really cool. And it's just a shame that the IP didn't take off for them. Child of Light was a great game. Look, all of these games are great. We had Final Fantasy on so many consoles. But getting back to what it's happening here in Australia, even now, with the PlayStation Vita, it's really picked up. A lot of people want to collect for it. And with my collection, there's some games there I could sell now for about $200, and I may have paid $39, $49, up to $59 for those games. It's just crazy to think when I look at this collection as I'm talking about it that I could sell this collection off for a couple of $1,000s, even more, up to $10,000 maybe, because there's titles in here that I know are worth a lot of money. There's stuff there exclusive from like Play Asia. We have the Super Neptuna games, which are going up in price, which is crazy. I think that one there that I'm showing now was actually, I think, R-rated in Australia. I thought it might have got banned as well as the stuff that gets banned here all the time with games. It's either was an R-rated game, or it might have ended up being taken off the shelves with just the way the Australian classification board is here in Australia. You see a lot of that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's just crazy. You go on eBay, you see these prices of these video games. It's just insane to see what's happening with the market. Let's talk about some of these other games now. Need for Speed was a great game. I really enjoyed that series. Little Big Planet was perfect for the Vita, I felt. And there's a lot of other little titles in here. The God Eater is really cool. And there's some Japanese titles there that I got just because they're going cheap on eBay. And I thought I just wanted to try and collect as much as possible, especially when Sony announced that they were discontinuing the Vita. To me, it was just like the Sega Dreamcast all over again. Here's a great console with so many great games, and then Sony pulls the pin on it because it didn't meet their expectations. Well, if you didn't support it, it's not going to meet your expectations, is it? If you're going to make first party titles, you really want to commit to this thing for a couple of years at least. But Sony, I felt, really didn't give it the chance and the marketing that it really needed to succeed. You can debate that, but it's just my personal opinion on that. But I really am passionate about the PlayStation Vita. And when it was announced that they were going to discontinue making them, it really became a mission for me to collect for the PlayStation Vita. And I would ramp up building up this collection. And I would go on to places like Amazon America, obviously on eBay. There'd be Oz Game Shop. who's UK based. They got really great games at fantastic prices, and I would just go on a shopping splurge, I guess you could say, trying to grab what games I wanted. And that's what you see here. Corpse's Bride, I picked that up, the collector's edition from Amazon America. So yeah, I would be going on, especially back then, because the Australian dollar was pretty much on the same level as the American dollar, and I was able to get a lot of games from Amazon for pretty much the same price as what they paid in America, because the dollar was here in Australia was equal, which was fantastic for us. Since then, it's just gone crap. But yeah, it was just a mad rush for me to try and get what I could. And even now, even in 2022, I'm still looking to try and maybe get 3 or 4 games, just so I got 2 shelves full of Vita games. There's a little gap in one of them. I got like one of those pop vinyls of Kratos just sitting there in between that gap. So it is a mission for me to try and find something. I know some of the Lego games for the Vita are still available on Oz Game Shop for around $29. I do have a few of those games for the Vita, which was cool, but it was just a great handheld system to own. And like I said, when I was doing fly in, fly out work, it was perfect for those long bus rides where there's no Wi-Fi. You're out in the middle of nowhere, or those flights back home. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. I mean, here's Tearaway, which was another fantastic game, which Sony tried to put on the PlayStation 4, but it didn't work because people didn't know what the hell these things were. It's a shame because both Tearaway and also Gravity Rush were great IPs, but yeah, it's just a shame to see stuff like that made for the Vita, try to port it over. People are scratching their head because they just don't know what the hell this stuff is. Now, I guess, I could talk about these games, but let's talk about what tips I can give for you in 2022 to look at collecting for the PlayStation Vita. I honestly feel that it's getting too late to try and get a collection built, because the fact of the matter is everybody's trying to collect for this thing now. I've seen, even in CEX Exchange, the PlayStation Vita consoles themselves selling at really high prices. The games, if it's a really popular game, you're going to be paying up to $200 for that. If it's a rare game, you may even pay double that to try and get stuff. Like I'm showing here now, all these Lego games are still relatively cheap because they're so mass produced and on every other console. And if you're going to try and collect for this thing, that's probably the best way to go, is with those Lego games, because they still low value, I think. I don't know what the most expensive game in this collection is. I do have some titles from Japan that didn't get Western releases. I think one of the Final Fantasy games, which was a download code in the West, got released in Japan, which I have, and it plays in English. There's also a game called Tad Jones, which was an animated movie. There's 2 games on the Vita for that, and I got one of them, and I thought, man, maybe one day that game's going to be worth a lot more money, but I don't think it has. And the other game for it, which I think is only released in Spain physically, which is really weird, but even that one is really cool. But Tad Jones is a really cool game, really cool movie. I just want to talk about these Neptuna games. Those games are going up in price. Neptuna producing perfection is absolutely crap, so stay away from that game at all costs. It's not something that you want to have in your collection. I've got it here because I can't get rid of it, but every other game in this series was really fun. I can recommend it highly. It's so cool. Okay, I need to talk about Virtual Tennis 4, because that was one of my favorite series on the Dreamcast, and we haven't seen anything else for Virtual Tennis, I think, since the PS Vita version of it, which was odd, but it was a great series back in the day, and I would love to see Sega return to this one. I'm not too sure if Virtual Tennis 4 has gone up in price, but a lot of stuff has. And yeah, I don't know what else I can say. If you're looking at collecting for the Vita in 2022, it's just really good luck. That's what it is. You're not going to find them at a lot of garage sales, at boot sales, at flea markets. Those that did own a Vita back in the day, like I did, were very passionate about it. And although I know I could sell this collection off for a pretty penny, it's something that I don't want to do because there's a lot of value in this more than money. I just think it was a fantastic console that, seriously didn't get the respect it deserved, like the Dreamcast. And yeah, the only way I think you can find it, if you do find people online that's wanting to sell their collection as bundles, that may be a way to do it. It's just going to cost a lot, I think, and if you got the capital to do that, then go for it, because there's a lot of great games. There's a lot of limited run stuff there, like Bastion, which, as you can see there now, there's Tad Jones, the one I was talking about. Great movie. If you haven't watched that movie, watch it. It was really funny. I really enjoyed that animated movie. But yeah, so pretty much that is my PlayStation Vita collection. This is a little bit different. I'm not talking about every game that you see here, although, you can see what's good. If you ask me, what's a good game, all the stuff that you can see now, apart from that producing perfection, everything else I can recommend. It's such a seriously underrated console. Yeah, I just feel like, it's like the Dreamcast all over again, when Sega would make something that was incredible. It didn't work, so they stopped making consoles. They got out of the console making business. But Sony, they could have put a lot more behind this, because they had a hit with the PlayStation Portable. That was a massive hit. That really surprised me, just how great that was. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the games on it. It's the battery life sucked because it was using the UMD discs. So you would see with the Vita, we would go onto carts, which was a lot more logical, like what Nintendo was doing with their handheld systems, and even up to the Nintendo Switch. That is cart based because it's a handheld and it's also docked. So it makes perfect sense to have something that's not going to have any mechanisms in it spinning around, chewing up battery life. So perfect. The question is, would we see Sony ever risking to make another handheld system? I know a lot of people out there would love to see that happen. I would love to see that happen as well. Reality is, I don't think it's in Sony's business model to try and do that again. They could see the success of the Nintendo Switch. I just don't think they're going to go down that path, not unless they're going to do cloud-based gaming with it, which is something that I don't want. I want my games physically, like all on the shelf here. So yeah, I can't see them doing that. But if they ever did release another handheld system, seriously, they need to invest 4 to 5 years of first-party development to support this thing. But yeah, that won't happen. So I hope you enjoyed this. Like I said, this is different. It's not me just talking about every game. You can see stuff there. They're all good, okay? If you're looking at trying to collect for the Vita, good luck. I really wish you the best in hunting down some phenomenal games. Uncharted is phenomenal. It needs to be remastered for the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. It just warrants that. It's just a brilliant game. So yeah, I hope you like what I presented here, something different. So thanks very much for watching. See you next time. Bye.